right, I didn't think it was going to connect there for a second. Let me know. You can see my screen, hear me, all that. Oops. All right, guys. Let me know everything's working good. Let me know where you're from. All righty. Hi, Brian. Popcon. Osman. Hope everybody's doing good. All right, we're going to go out to the weekly. And talk about this overall count here. It's always good to go back out, pan out, and take a good look, okay? All right. All right. So let's talk about the weekly. And the one indicator I use, well, two actually. But I more rely on the TDI, even though I pair these two up together, okay? So let's take a look back in previous bull runs. Get it all squeezed in here. Now, we don't have all the data, but this is enough for us to take a look at, okay? Notice that, and some of you that are in my Discord, you already know all of this, so bear with me, okay? But this is really important. When we were trending bullishly in a big bull run, notice where we were trending in RSI. We were trending we were pushing way up into the 90s, and it was holding 50. This whole area here, okay? This wave 1 and wave 2 here came down from the 30 area. It pushed up into 70, but notice where it held, the bullish zone. This is the bullish zone between 50 and 40. And then it pushes up above the red zone, which is between 60 and 70. Now, if a bull run was going to fail, and it was not going to, say we pushed up here, we pulled back, and this was just going to be a corrective wave, this next push. What would happen in RSI is that RSI would not hold the bullish zone between 50 and 40. It would come back through to 30. So when you are looking to go back on a bull run, like we're looking for here, transition number 1 is to push up above the red zone. Right here was our confirmation 1 on the weekly. And we'll talk about the daily in a minute, because all of the time frames on the upper time frames, the lower time frames lead into that. So whatever you want to happen on the daily, the weekly, and the monthly needs to happen on the lower time frames first, so that it can happen on the higher time frames. But ultimately, what we want to see on the weekly is a push above the red zone. That is signal number 1. Then we want to see it hold the green zone here between 40 and 50. That's signal number 2. And then we want it to push up above the red zone again, signal number 3. That is a complete transition signal. Okay, that's what it did here in this bull run. And of course, I'm telling you all this because we're leading up to where we are today so that we can compare what's going on today. All right, so in this bull run, we don't have as much trending because it wasn't as long as this bull run. But it did the same exact thing, that it pushed up above 50 and it stayed above there. And I'll show you this on a lower time frame where it actually did trend up in here during this whole push on the weekly. Okay. All right. So where we're at right now, we are asking ourselves, is it possible that we are going back on a bull run? Well, we don't even at this moment have signal number 1 on a weekly time frame because it has not pushed up above 70 yet. Okay. So if anyone out there is saying that they're 100% sure that we're going back on a bull run, you can't say that right now. We cannot say that until we see the weekly push above 70 and at least pull back to 50 or 40 and hold and then push again above 70. What will happen up here is that if this is going to pull back for a wave 2, and we'll talk about the counts in a minute, we want to see the weekly hold the bullish zone for wave 2 or even higher. This is going to push for a wave 3. You can guarantee that RSI is going to push again up into the 90s. When this corrects for a wave 4, the wave 4 is going to reset itself pretty hard, but it's going to hold the bullish zone. It's going to create bullish continuous divergence. Then when this wave 5 happens, this is when, more than likely, it may push above 70, but we'll see that divergence here. Now, if Bitcoin can make this impulse wave, that's going to be a beautiful thing, because that is going to pretty much guarantee that we're going back on a bull run, because what starts with 5 ends with 5, and we would break the expanded B pocket in any bearish option that would still be on the table, because this would pull back and then we would be on our way. Okay. If you have a question, I will look at them in between explanations here. All right. So that's what we want to see on the weekly time frame if this is going to be bullish and we're going back on a bull run. The weekly needs to continue. And right now, it has rejected right at 70 and pivoted. Doesn't mean that it's going bearishly right now, okay? It just means that we don't have transition signal number 1 on a weekly time frame, okay? So let's go down to the 2-day. And let's talk about what RSI has done so far here to give us those signals. Because remember what I said. Everything that I just said, pushing up over 70, pulling back, holding the bullish zone, and then pushing up again, needs to happen on the lower time frames first. So if we look at the 4-day, on the 4-day, we have signal number 1 because it pushed up over 70. What did it also do? It gave us signal number 2 because it held the bullish zone. But if the weekly is going to be able to push up over 70 for its first signal, this needs to continue up and push over the red zone here to give us signal number 3. Can it pull back a little bit first? Yes, it can. So if this is going to pull back, say, for a wave 2, we need the 4-day to hold this zone and not come underneath it. So when this first wave 1 and wave 2 happens, this is going to push up into the 90s again and pull the weekly up with it. Okay? It's a little complicated, I know. Okay, but what I'm trying to get across is we need the lower time frames to give us those transition signals so that we can eventually get it on the weekly. And right now, we do have some transition signals, but we don't have it on the weekly yet, and we don't have all of them yet. So to say that we are going back on a bull run right now is not something that anyone should be saying that they're 100% confident about. And I'm not trying to sound bearish either, by any means. I'm just saying that we don't have all the signals yet. It's looking good, but some more things have to happen. Okay. Sarah, I'll talk about your question in just a second. All right. So let's talk about some counts here for a second. All right. And it's not so important what count we're in, or do we have the right count? Because remember, Elliott wave is only a tool, just like RSI is a tool, just like price action trading or price action TA is a tool. Any type of TA that you use is a tool. It's not the entire system by any means. Elliott wave is definitely not the only thing that I use to trade. It helps, and it helps me with invalidation points, but it's definitely not the only thing. If you tried to trade with just counts alone, it wouldn't work. You wouldn't be successful. Okay. So again, anyone that says I'm an Elliott wave trader, that's fine. You use that tool, but you cannot be successful with that alone. If someone out there is, my hat's off to them, because there's too many options. Okay, you have to add things with that into it. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Order blocks and insufficiencies. That's a big part of my system. That's what I call price action trading. Okay, so this moved to the downside. Okay. Right now, it does not matter much whether it's W, X, Y, X, Z, or it's W, X, Y, and this is all a bearish flat. Okay. What matters most right now for us is what's happening right here. Because analyzing this at this point and arguing over whether it's WXY or WXYXZ, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. All that matters right now is this the start of something or the end of something? And are we going to get a partner for this or this entire structure over here? That's what matters to us right now. So how do we know whether this is the end of something, the start of something? By our invalidation points. Nobody can say right now that they know 100% whether this is a C wave Is it an A wave of a zigzag, or is it a wave one? Nobody knows for sure. Now, we'll be able to rule out some things here very soon. Okay. First thing we'll be able to rule out is the option that, and this is the most bullish option, is that this was 5 waves to here and that it was a 1. That this pullback was a 2. And that this is the start of the bull run, which means wave 3. Inside, the first most bullish option is that this was a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. Now, my bias right now is that that's not the case. And the reason is because this correction is already significantly bigger than this one. If this was going to be a 1-2-1-2 nest, we would have already taken off. Because this 2 is of lower degree than this 2. And it should be smaller or the same size. Okay? Because if this is 1 and 2 and this is 1 and 2, this is the 1 and 2 inside of the third wave that belongs inside of this, that belongs to this 1 and 2. It shouldn't be bigger. Now, it's not completely invalid until we break this low right here. We'll keep it on the table. Okay, but the longer it gets, the less likely it is. It's already very probably not the case. Okay, but it's not invalid till we break this low. Okay, so say we were to pull back and not break this low correctively. So far, right now, we have nothing to tell us that this is a harsh rejection, nothing to tell us that we're about to tank, which we'll get into that in a second. But so far, it's holding. So if we stay above this low, we will trade it just like we're going to the moon. There's no reason not to. Okay. If we break this low, then we're flipping to the next bullish option, that this is all a 1 and that it's pulling back for a 2. And the invalidation point is here because a 2 cannot break the bottom of a 1. Okay. We're going to trade it like this is a 1 and a 2 and that we're going to the moon. It's obvious where to put your stop. Invalidation point. Okay. Now say that we break this low. We fill the gap and we break this low. Well, we're going to flip to the next bearish or the next bullish option. I'm sorry. And that is that all of this just completed a wave 1. Now, what if it's an A wave? So then we have the option of A wave and wave 1. It's not going to matter. We're going to trade it exactly the same because both a 2 and a B cannot break this low. So it really won't matter which one it is. We would expect to get at least an equal partner of this one to the upside. Okay. So that is the bullish options in a nutshell, is that this is the start of something. We want it to be really bullish, 1, 2, 1, 2. But if we break this low, we're going to 1 and 2 like this. We break this low, then we're going to 1 and a 2 that's going to come deeper. And we hope that it will not break through all of this support that we've built through here. It won't be invalid, like I've said many times in my videos, but it just wouldn't be in Bitcoin's best interest to come through here. Because what will it do? It will shift everyone bearish. Okay? It'll just, everybody's bullish right now, and then everybody will shift bearish if we come underneath there. So we need to stay above. But there's nothing saying that we can't come deep and then blast out of here, because a wave 3, say we come deep, a wave 3, none of this will really matter to it. Okay? It'll go right through there. Okay, so let me look real quick at the wave, this wave 2 here is too short in time compared to wave 1. It met time, minimum time. Okay? It's just met time to the tick. Actually, it was like a candle short of time, if this is the one you're talking about, Eric. Okay. So it met minimum time. Is it a little short? Would I would have thought that it would have been bigger? Yes. Okay. I'll tell you what my bias is in just a second. Probably the same as yours. Okay. All right. So let me give you my bias of what I think is happening. I do not know whether it's a C, let's say that, or whether it's a 1 or it's an A. But I think that there's a good chance that this is a 5th wave. Okay. Exactly what Eric said. This is bigger than this too. They are the alternation in time and type of wave and all that is there. Okay. What I do think right now that's still on the table, possibly one more hit to the high could happen here for a 5th of a 5th. Possibly. If the bearish option doesn't play out. And what it will give us is that divergence between that 3rd and 5th there, and also between here. That's a beautiful thing to see. It gives you more signals, I guess you could say. Okay. That's how I'm leaning at the moment. Okay. But, and the thing is that we don't want it to come much deeper though, even though it can. And we'll talk about that when we get down into this leg right here. All right. So let's talk about the bearish options real quick here. So the bear option is obviously that it's a C wave. Okay. And that it's coming from back here is one of the options. It doesn't matter whether you put your A here or you put your A here. At this point, it's not that important that this was a B and that all of this is a C wave that could have an additional 5th to go. Okay. What would happen is if we put in that 5th and it is a C, we're going to see a harsh rejection. It's going to take this wave back quickly. It's going to get back up underneath this potential 4th, back test it, and then this insufficiency area is where the 3rd's going to drop through. 4th, 5th, like this. Okay. The only thing Bitcoin can hope for then is that it puts in a big recovery here for a B. So that when it gets this additional 5 waves over here, maybe it can put in a sideways zigzag, okay? And then go up. And that this would be 1 and 2 here, if it's able to do that. That would be its only hope if we get that 5 wave harsh rejection over here. We need a big recovery. Okay. All right. So what if, so this is one bearish option. Now, if we don't get the hit to the high, and we'll talk about what bearish option we have in here right now, then it needs to tank like now. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Otherwise, the bearish option's probably not happening from its current position. Now, there's one more option, and that is that it has put in a C wave, or it's almost done putting in a C wave. Okay. And it is ABC like this. If it were to give the additional fifth, it would put in a 1-to-1 extension, and it would be exactly the same size as the A wave. Right now, it's come up over the 618, which suggests that the probabilities of this being C are less probable than that hit to the high, or that it's just not this count. Because price doesn't do this. It doesn't stop in the middle of two extensions like this. Very, very rarely does it do that. Okay. We would see the exact same thing, that harsh rejection, if this is the case. The only other option it would have at this point, and I don't want to confuse you guys, but it's the same option that it would have if it was this. And it's a way that it could save itself, is to put in a connector here. Put in an X wave or a B wave. Okay. That was very ugly, sorry. So something, correction. So it would be X or B here. This is the only way it could save itself. And then it would still be corrective, and then it would give this a partner. Either this whole structure or this ABC. Okay. It would end up being, depending on how deep it came, a flat 335 or WXY 333. So that's the only other option it would have if it's this bearish option. And that's a wait and see thing. Okay. All right. Yes, the gap is deep, guys. All right. It is deep. And the thing is, I've talked about the gap. I know that some people think that it doesn't have to be filled. And that's true. It doesn't have to be, but there's never been a gap we have not filled so far. We've never left a gap behind forever. I've talked about the COVID one. The COVID dump, there was a gap down here, but it was from before, back in another bull run or wherever it was. It wasn't back in this area right here. And you probably can't see that. So the gap wasn't coming from here. It was back here somewhere, or maybe it was in here. I don't remember. But this COVID dump finally filled it when we thought it would never be filled. So do we really want to leave this behind? I don't want to. Let's take care of it now. Let's pull back for a 2 or a B wave, whatever, and fill it. Because if this is a 1-2-1-2, say, and we take off bullishly, what does that mean if we're going to come back to this area later? It would mean some things. It would mean potentially that, we never did potentially come into this one. Is this a 4? I don't like it as a 4, but are we going up for a 5th? And then it's going to tank? After going up to whatever number up there? So I'd rather not leave it behind. And I'd rather, what are we going to do with these down here? What are we going to do with this one? We're going to leave that one behind too? to be filled whenever. So I know that everyone wants a bull run, but I'd rather let's take care of these and then go on a bull run and never come back to this area. So yeah, something to think about. All right, so look at the size of this wave, guys, compared to this wave. Does this look like a lower degree too? Not really. Not really. It looks like 4. Especially the way RSI has reset itself here. This is what wave 4s do. They reset themselves. So the options here is that this can come deep. It can come all the way down and nick this low of the 4 here. And I know that if you've watched my videos, you hear me talk about that a higher degree 4, 95% of the time is going to find support on their lower degree 4 or higher. Okay, coming underneath this 4, you can pretty much wipe off the idea that this is a 4. At that point, we're going to be thinking 2. Okay, it's got to hold above here or right on it, the 0.5 here. And then go up for the 5th if that's the plan. Okay. Now, the bullish option right now is that it's corrective, that we had a flat, that we had 3 waves up. And now this is a complex structure here where it's making some type of 3 waves. Okay. And that it's going to hold correctively. First idea that it's a 4 and that it's going to go up for a 5. Breaks this area, then we're looking for a 2. The best thing that price could do right now is to give us a little tick to the upside and come into this area. That would invalidate our bearish option that's on the table. If it could come in and tap this area. So let me go over the bearish option so you understand. And you got to squeeze it in here. It's not the best bearish option in the whole world, okay? The bearish option is that it's created a nest. And you could start it from here if you wanted to, but the better place is to say that this was an ending diagonal here. And that this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. And it's created a nest. And up here is a 1, 2, 1, 2. So coming into here would invalidate this coming to the downside. And if it's going to be this nest, it needs to dump very soon. Okay? Because this is getting a little too long in time. So we need to see that big dump. I'm not leaning bearishly, really. Like I said, to make this bearish, it's not the best price action fractal in the whole world. But it's the only bearish option that's on the table right now. Okay. But all we need is one candle to touch here and it'll invalidate it. Just come on up and touch it. Then what this will be would be a connector for this leg here. So we would have 3, 3, and then this leg here would just be leg, connector, and it would get a partner leg. then at that point, it would have a chance to go. If it doesn't, then and it puts connector here, then it's just giving all of this leg a partner deeper, and that would probably mean 2. Okay. All right, so that is what's on the table, guys. The only other possibility that I see is that maybe it just hasn't shown its face yet, and it's actually making a diagonal here. But maybe, okay? But we need to come up and touch those candles and invalidate that really awful bearish option. So, what else, guys? What else did I want to tell you? All right. Eric, the reason I believe February 16th, 2023 was wave 3. Okay, here. And wave 4 was March 10th. Here. Is because of RSI divergence between wave 2 and 4. Yeah, so a wave 4, okay, when it comes down, will give that continuous bullish. Okay? It should, like this, continuous bullish. It'll reset itself. Like this did. Okay? More than likely, and that's the way I'm leaning, is that it is a 4, that it's not a 2. All right, what's my count for the 2-hour bullish bias? Is that this is going to potentially, I said in the Discord that I thought that this was going to pop to the upside. That's what I'm hoping it's going to do right now. And that it's going to touch here and invalidate the bearish option. This will end up being a connector because this wave right here, it started out in a 3-wave move right here. So there's no way, even if this starts moving bullishly to the upside, it'll be a C wave. Because this is 3 waves right here. And then it pulled back in 3, and then maybe it's putting a C here. That would be a good thing. Let's come up here and tap this and validate the bullish option, or the bearish. And then more than likely this leg was going to get a partner, come a little deeper, and I'd like to see it hold here, not come underneath that, and then push to the upside for an additional 5th wave. That's the bullish option. It cannot go bullishly from where it's currently sitting. Okay? Because it started off in 3. It's got to reset itself to have another try at it. A diamond pattern. Okay, so pattern traders would call this a diamond. They would. Then they would draw it something like this. And I'm not the best in the world at it here. Okay? But yes. And then, if I have it right, I think that they pull from the biggest part and then they drag it over to the breakout point. Think that's what they do? Okay. Pretty sure. Now, this could climb correctively, guys. Okay, right here. It could put in a flat here and even take this high, but it would still be a connector. Pretty sure I got that diamond pattern down. That's the way they do it. Okay. New year, new president, new wave. Yeah, that would be nice, right? That would be real nice. If anyone, you know, likes the president, I apologize. I have to be careful sometimes what you say. Is there any requests? So ETH, while you guys are thinking about that, ETH is the same thing, okay? Pretty much. Let's talk about ETH for a minute, okay? Look at the size. Yes. All those things that you were asking about, do I consider interest rates? Do I consider, I think you asked about on-chain. Yes, I do. I just don't put all that into my videos because I think that they would just be a little too lengthy and little too, I don't know, I shouldn't say boring, but we talk about that stuff in the Discord and stuff. So here, if this is a wave one, okay, let's think about it. This is the low on ETH right here. So it's a little different when we think about it. If this would have to be a wave two, then this would have to be additional wave one. And then, or wave one to here. And then this would have to be two. This wave is bigger in time than this wave. So with what I said before about when you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the wave one that's inside of here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it needs to be smaller in time, in price, size, the whole 9 yards. It's got to be smaller. So probabilities, guys, is that this is not a wave one. Okay. So if ETH is not a wave one here, okay, and we don't want it to be the bear scenario, how can they both give us a much bigger bear market rally by doing what I talked about before, okay, that partner, that connector, I'm sorry. Okay, so say that it really is ABC here. All is not lost yet. It can put in that connector. And ETH is suggesting that based on the way that this looks. Where this is A, B, C, maybe it's not done. Okay. Then it puts in connector here. And then we get a partner to the upside for this one. And Bitcoin would be able to do the same exact thing. where it puts in a big partner and gets this significantly up higher. Because if this is corrective, we don't want it to just end here. Because that means that minimum, and we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's this correction. If this is done, and we'll bring it up to this resistance and we'll give it a +1, okay? Look where the 1-to-1 is. At $7,800. If ETH is almost done here with its bear market rally, and we'll say that it's going to come up a little bit more too, look at where its 1-to-1 is. That isn't, you know, that's going to make a lot of people very sad. But we don't necessarily have to say that this is over, okay? It can give us a bigger connector here. It could even put in a B wave that takes the high, okay? Say that this comes deep enough, and we can say that it's a B wave. It could put in a ripping C wave right here and break the high. Then what do? Well, it finally puts in a different correction than these zigzaggy looking things. And we get a flat correction. Maybe even a running flat. That would be extremely bullish. Okay? Extremely. Because the higher the B, the more bullish and the better. So we put in a B wave here. And then we get a big bullish C wave that breaks the high. And then hopefully we do something like this. It wouldn't take care of our gap though. That's an issue. But this is possible. Or let's think about it this way. Say it pulls back, puts in 3 waves, but it doesn't break the high. At least when this partner comes, maybe it will just go to that 9,600 gap and that'll be the end of it. Okay. Some other things to think about. All right. All right. So I got, let's see. I think my first request was Dash. So when you request, if you could say like, what are you looking for, the higher time frame, the whole thing? Because most of them are pretty much the same. That they had a that can't be right. Let's see. Hold on, I'm sorry. Trying to get the most data here. Let's see this one. All right, whatever. No, I can't. Did it break its low, guys? I apologize. Let's go back to this one. All right. So if this is correct, which it looks a little weird, we would call this a 1 and we're looking for a 2 with the overall big count. Okay. And then this looks exactly like all the others. Okay. It looks like all 3s to me. The only question is just like Bitcoin, did it come from back here? Now, there are some altcoins that this is impossible. that it can't come from back here because this came too deep. So with that being said, and I'll show you a few, it is suggesting that we are going higher because there's a lot of alts, one being Mana here, that came off the bottom in a 5-wave move. And this cannot be a B right here. So that is strongly, strongly suggesting that even if this ends up being some type of connector and this falls deeper, that this wave is getting a partner to the upside. There is a lot of alts that look like this. So back to Dash. So the question is, what we don't know is this a C? Okay. This looks like 3 to me. It does not look like 5. And the reason is because we don't have a 4th wave here that we can really see and a 5th wave. So that looks like 3, which is a good thing. And then the bullish option here is that this is the start of something, that this was A, B, C, or WXY, it doesn't matter. This is the connector, and that this leg here is going to get a partner to the upside. And then more than likely, then you'll get this over here. So the higher this goes, the better. So when this leg comes, it could potentially make a higher low here. This is bullish. This here, it would be extremely more bullish if it didn't break this low. But if it does roll over again, we just don't want to break this bottom. Otherwise, this was just a corrective move. That most likely this was attached to this, and that this leg is coming now. Okay, so invalidation for bull is breaking this low. For bullish now to the upside, and this can roll over deeper. And then bear, I mean, just the only bearish option I see is that this is getting a partner now. I think that it is going to get a partner leg to the upside. Alrighty, hopefully that answered your question. Okay, so here's another one that this strongly suggests that this is not a B wave, and that this ended here, and that this is the start of something that should get a partner. The question is just how deep is this going to come? So what I just did, I was trying to see if this came too high to be a B, because this right here looks like 5 waves. So if you can make it a C wave, then it's not as bearish. But unfortunately, this came too high. So with this one, right now, this looks like connector to me. This looks like it's going to get a partner to the upside. And then this is going to get a partner. The higher this can go, the better. So when it gets this partner, it could potentially not take this low. But invalidation is this low. And the deepest you would want it to come, really, is the 618. So this needs to get up there so that when this partner leg comes, it doesn't break this order block right there. There wouldn't be any reason to come underneath that. Okay. Tell us the fib time in daily. For which leg, if you could let me know what exactly you're looking for. If you're looking for, is this taking enough time to correct this? Well, I can just eyeball it and say yes. It depends on what exactly you want me to pull the fib time on. Yogams, I think I said that right. What is my thoughts on BRICS nation like Brazil? OBOV? IBOV? So this has been, if I have the right one, Eric, let me know in the bottom here if you're still here. This has been in an uptrend for a very long time. This right here could be a diagonal, but that doesn't really matter too much. We don't have any overlap. This looks like a 3 here. Then it reset itself partially, which is suggesting a 4. It looks like currently it's in an overextended 5th, but it doesn't look done to me. Almost looks like it's trying to put in an ending diagonal, though. Okay. Let's take a look at this area right here. So invalidation for bullish, we know that is right here. Okay. Because if this is 5 waves, it can't break the bottom of it. And this here currently looks corrective. So it looks to me like it has another push to the upside. And what is this? It's sitting at 100,000. Do I have the right one, Eric, if you're still here? Yeah. I think wave 5 is what it's in, but I think that there's a good chance that this may be the start of it. The diagonal may not be the right TA on that. I think that this is a 3rd, 4th. This is probably... This is really weird in here. Oh, okay. It could be that this is all one correction right here. That this was a B wave. And this is the 5th of the 3rd. But this is 5 waves, okay? So this is the invalidation right here. This is a tough one, actually. It doesn't have any good separation pushes in it, okay? So I think it's in a 5th, and it's got more to go. And it's Brazil. Yeah, so I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'll just say M-A, okay? There's nothing saying that Bitcoin's going to moon, okay? But I do think that we're going to get a potentially bigger bear market rally. I agree with you with the interest rates and all of that. The bullish options of it going back on a bull run are less likely. For sure. Okay. There we go. All right, so this has come pretty deep, but it hasn't invalidated it being a 2. This would be the invalidation there. And all that means, guys, okay, like there's some alts that have broken their all-time lows. It doesn't mean that it can't take off bullishly. It can. It just means that it has to restart its count from that low that it made. So say that it was going to go on a bull run. It would just start its primary wave 1 from this point because it broke the low back here. Or it ends up being just a corrective structure, but it still can moon, is what I'm saying. But you have to start the count from there. So this looks to me like the same type of structure, okay? It's either WXYXZ, or in this case, it could have came from back here, which means it can go higher to make an X here. So the question is this going to give a higher push? That could potentially be the start of something or the end of something. And in this case, we won't know till it shows its face. All right, so this looks like a 5-wave move here. Because it's getting so close to the bottom down here, this one really needs this wave right here to be the start of something. And to not break this low. Because it's already come to like the 786, 886. This looks like a pretty good potential 5-wave move here. So, this is the invalidation here. It's either going to give this leg a partner to the upside. This would be connector, and this needs to get high if this is the case, and it's going to be connector so that when this leg comes, it doesn't take this low. If it's not going to be a connector and it's going to be the start of something, it really needs to go like here soon because it's so close to invalidating. So maybe this will come up and then it gets one more leg, doesn't break that low. Doesn't look too good at the moment. But if you were trading this, this is your stop right here. If it takes it, then your stop goes here because those are the invalidations right there. And if it does take the bottom, then that was a very bearish truncated C right here, which is surprising. Hopefully this can hold. Yeah, Reef doesn't look that great at the moment. All right. Did Bitcoin invalidate it? Well, just about. The only bearish option it's got left now is that this pulled back for a 2, but that's it. So basically it's the same option now, guys. If it's going to play out that nest bearish option, then from this point, without taking this high, it's going to need to tank, like a big separation move. If it doesn't do that, then we're good to go for that fifth wave to the upside, or it's pulling back in a wave 2. So here very soon, like from maybe one more hit, it's got to go down. Big separation. Where's my ape? There it is. All right, so all of these are pretty much the same, that we want to see this leg get a partner. A lot of them look better than others as a 5-wave move, but it doesn't matter too much. We still want a partner leg for it. Okay. Then they have this 3-wave pullback. And then the majority of them are questioning whether this leg here is the start of something, or is it just going to give itself a partner for a connector, and then this leg gets its partner to the downside. And then we're hoping that it doesn't take this low and that this leg gets a partner to the upside bullishly. Okay. So this, if this is going to be bullish, this is the invalidation point right here. And it needs to go. Because it's going to, if this ends up, this little guy right here ends up being a connector, and it gives this leg a partner, it's going to take that low. Okay. Which will mean that you shift gears, and then you look at this as the pullback as a 2. But you don't want to miss the boat if this is the start of something. So right now, this is so close. If you do your risk management right, it's a low risk trade. And not to dig too deep into risk management, guys, but it is the most important thing about trading. And I know probably all of you have heard this before, but some people don't realize how important it is. The majority of people quit because they wreck their accounts and they don't have the funds to start again. But if you never wreck that account to begin with, you have a less chance of giving up. And it all boils down to risk. Okay? The majority of people, when they're starting out, they open an account and they just hit the 25% button or the 15% button. They hit the 20x or the 10x and they just go for it. They have no idea how to calculate risk. Okay? The first thing that you should be asking yourself is, how much am I willing to lose per trade? How much am I willing to lose? And it's not going to bother me at all. Not one bit. If that's $20 or that's $50 or $100 or that's $2, then that is your risk. Okay? And it should never, I shouldn't say that, but 1 to 2% is the best way to go about it. So if you have a $5,000 account, what is that? $50 for 1%. And do your calculations, okay? There's a way, this real quickly here, okay? If you're going short, this part right here has nothing to do with risk. It's your risk to reward ratio. It has nothing to do with how much you're going to lose if your stop gets hit. And it's very, very simple to calculate it. Real quick here. That says 5 point, you go with this number right here, 5.80. That is the most important number ever. You take that 5.80 and you move the decimal place over 2 times. Now it becomes this number. Then you take, and this is very simple, then you take your $50, if that is your risk per trade, and you divide this into it. So this gets divided into this, and it's going to tell you, based on your account size, say you have a $5,000 account, whatever it is, it's going to tell you, Carrie, you can only put into this trade $1,280. It's going to give you a number, and you have to stick to that. You don't do this to it. Because if you do that to it, you are 50xing that number. If you want to use leverage, you have to take this amount and break it up. You can take $50 of it and 5x it. You could take $100 of it and 5x it. However you want to break it up with leverage, you can do that, but you can never go over this amount right here. And it's calculated by your risk per trade, the amount of money, divided by this number when moving the decimal over twice. And you have to do this every trade, or you're going to get your butt handed to you every single time that your stop gets hit, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, and you're going to watch your account go down, 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 down every time your stop gets hit. And it could just take 2 times, and that's it. Your account's gone. So I got on a little rampage there, but I just wanted to say how important risk is. And there's a whole module on this in the course, but because it's so important. Okay? Because you don't want to be one of those people that doesn't ever even get the chance to learn and be profitable and potentially be professional trader. And probably 90% of the people, that's what happens to them. They don't know how to calculate risk. All right, so this wave here is a 5-wave move. More than likely, it's not a B wave. You would have to take and see And it came very close. It's a possibility, but probably not likely. This is a good one here. It pulled back in 3. And now it's got a potential wave that could be 5 waves. So the invalidation is this low, for this being the start of something. This looks like A, B, C, W, X, Y. It looks like 3 waves. It is going to need to go here soon, because if this is a connector, when it gives this leg a partner, it's probably going to take the low. If this gets invalidated, then you're flipping to this being A wave or wave 1, and this being 2 or B. But the first chance for it to be bullish is by using this leg right here. Be careful of it just giving a partner 5 and being an internal connector. Always be thinking, I'm going to take some profit off here at this resistance, because this can be a C leg and be a connector. You don't have to take the entire trade off, but at least make it a winning trade. If it rips through here, obviously, in a big move, then that's another story. Is it this one? Or algo? I think you want algo. Okay. Exact same story here. This cannot be a B wave down here. There's no A wave over here. So that's highly suggesting this is getting a partner. Even if this is not the start of it. But this could be a 5 wave move right here, where it pulls back A, B, C. 1 second, what? 4:30. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that. All right. So this is invalidation for this being the start of something. Same exact deal. It needs to go, because if it ends up putting a connector here, this leg is going to take the low. Then you're going to flip to this is pulling back for 2 or B, and we don't want to take this low. High probability this is getting a partner. Very high. And this could be the start of it, but it can't take this low. Okay? I will do that right at the end. What I think the overall count is for Bitcoin. Let me do a few more. I'm almost to the end here. I got an XRP, and then we'll do the overall count, okay? And then we'll end it with that. All right, XRP, where are you? Where are you? Let's do this one. All right. So XRP, the only way to make this overlapping wave right here the start of something is to make it an expanding diagonal. And that's a very good possibility that it is. It's beautiful one, actually. 1, and we're looking for a 2. Now let's talk about this. Just take a look at it. This is our low right here. There's no way to make this wave right here a 5 wave move. In my book, I don't see it as 5. I see it as 3. Then we had 3 back, a connector, and then a partner for this one. So basically 3 guys. I didn't really need to break it up like that. And then it looks like this leg right now is trying to give itself a partner. So what do you end up with when it's done? Well, you end up with 3, 3, and then we'll have to see, does this give us 5 or does it give us 3? But XRP is running right now, and it always seems to run without the others. Does its own thing, kind of. So watch the 1-to-1. And it's probably going to try to get up, back up into this area right here. Okay. Now, say that it doesn't have to be over, just like I talked about with Bitcoin. So it puts in 3. All it has to do is pull back correctively here. Then it can give this leg a partner and get up higher. Unfortunately, though, that will be a bear market rally. I don't see a way currently to put a bullish wave here. The only other thing that's a possibility and I don't think it's possible because I'm sure that some are trying to say W, X, Y, X, Z. Make this a truncation. But to be a truncation, it needs to at least hit the 618. And it's nowhere near it. So probability-wise here, it started here. And this was a Y wave here without the X and the Z, just WXY. And that this is a start of a connector, a bear market rally. But it doesn't matter. If this wave puts in 5 waves, you're going to treat it like the start of something, especially if it pulls back correctively. Because it doesn't matter. This is telling you that I at least want a partner leg for this one to the upside. When you're moving upwards and you pull back correctively, the market is telling you, I want more upside. It doesn't matter what that count is. It doesn't matter what that structure is. It doesn't matter. Pulling back correctively, more up. If it's coming down and it pulls back correctively, it's telling you I want more down. It doesn't matter what this is behind it. You could analyze that all day long, trying to make a count or whatever count you want to make out of it. If it gives you 3 waves, you're getting more down. And the same goes for up. If it puts this here, it's going up more. Giving something behind it a partner. All right, so we'll do the overall count. And let's go to the BLX. We get it all on here. All right. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay, there's 2 things, or really 1 thing, that is most important. And if you guys have listened to my videos, you know this. There's only 2 things in Elliott wave that can overlap. 2s and 4s. That's it. Nothing else. You can't accept an overlap in anything else. So when you're making an impulse wave, right in here is where the nests happen. So this 1, 2, and this little 1 and 2, which will find most of the time support on top of its previous higher degree 1, can overlap. It can touch each other. Then in here, when you're making 3s and 4s in this area, because remember, there's 5 waves in here too. Okay, so that's a 3 and a 4. That's a 3 and a 4. That's a 3 and a 4. And depending on how many 1s and 2s you have down here will determine how many 3s and 4s you have up here. So right in this area, you can overlap. And in this area, but no other places. Okay, so taking that into consideration, we have an overlap right here. Okay. Now, to say that this is all 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or, okay, maybe it's not that many. Maybe this doesn't exist, and the 1 and the 2 are here. Okay. Or maybe this doesn't exist, and all of this was a 1 and a 2. Actually, this should be over here. I apologize. Let's scratch that out. Okay. I understand why some Elliottians are wanting to call this account that way, but let's remember another thing that I said. When you have a main 1 and 2, then a 3, this 1 and 2 should be significantly smaller in price, time, size, because it is a smaller degree than this one. This should be much bigger. So if this is primary 1, or even if it's back here, okay, and this is primary 2, then this 1 and 2 should be significantly smaller in price and time than this and this. From here to here is $18,000. From here to here is $62,000. This is significantly much larger, 3 times as big as this. All of this back here. When you put it on linear, it totally, you can see how big that wave is. So I am not leaning that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's the reasons why. Okay. What I am leaning is that this is potentially a 3. That this is a 4. That this could be 5. And maybe this is another 4. Because it can overlap here. And that we're going up for a 5th. That's one possibility. Okay. But that's not my main, I don't know. Here's the thing. This would have to be a huge overextended 5th wave. Okay. And a $69,000 or $70,000 overextension? Maybe. Okay. But I'm more leaning, and probably a lot of you guys are not going to like this, but I'm more leaning that this was a 1, primary, that this was a 2. This is significantly smaller in price and time. So 1, 2. Then we had a 3 and a 4 here. It goes with this 1 and 2. A 5th. Which leads into our primary 3. We pulled back right into and held support in our prior 4th for a primary 4 and then a primary 5. This count, guys, is probably the more likely scenario. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to admit it. And that this is all a 1. And that we're coming down for a 2. Which means that when this is over, the massive bull run that we will be on will be 20 years or more. Like, we'll be straight going, trending upwards for years. It also means, guys, that, and I know that's scary to think about, that it's potentially a 2, that we're correcting this whole structure, okay? But it doesn't mean that we ever have to come underneath this. Nothing is saying that we cannot put in a flat structure here for a 2. We don't have to come way down here, or here, or here, or even here, or here. Doesn't have to. Can stay up here. But if we are correcting the whole entire thing, we have to consider time. Okay. And we would need to meet minimum time. And let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say that maybe this was a B wave. Okay. We're looking at November of 23 to August of 24 before this correction will be done. So we would get big market, bear market rally here. And then this leg will get its partner. And it needs to be coming down into this area. So that is what I think. Bitcoin history index gives us more. Okay. That's nice to know. But I still think that's the count. I'm still leaning that's the count. Because of all the reasons I just said. But maybe I'm wrong. And maybe this is a 3 and a 4 and a 3 and a 4. But what does that mean, guys? That means we're going to go bullish for a big 5th wave that's probably going to get overextended from FOMO. And then we got to correct this whole thing. When we've already been in this for over a year. Almost 2. 364 days. Let's see. So, okay, so close. I'd rather just get it over with. Let's go on that big 3rd. I don't want to have a 5th wave and then potentially come all the way back down to here. So we need to fill those gaps now instead of later, and then never come back to this area. What I say. So thank you guys for sticking it out with me. I just looked at XRP. That was the last one I did. So when I upload this, which won't take long, you can watch it. Sorry about that. All right, guys, have a great day. Think about the Discord. I have a new pricing plan now. It's more cheaper for the struggling people out there. That's for sure. We're all struggling. And think about the course. All right. You guys have a great day.